Most men, they don't break because life is hard. They actually break because they've been silent for too long. You know, we're told real men carry everything. We're told emotions make us weak. We're told pain is actually something that you're supposed to swallow. You're not supposed to speak it. But here's the truth. There's one shift that separates the men from those who stay stuck from the men who actually finally rise. And if you give me a few minutes, I'm actually going to show you why men hide their pain and what it silently does to us and how to actually break it without feeling weak. But if you ignore this, you stay stuck emotionally, financially, and spiritually. But if and when you understand it, you're going to break cycles. You're going to rebuild confidence. You step into the man who is designed to be. This right here, this is the turning point for most men. This is the turning point that most men actually never reach. You know, I know this life too well. I used to be the man who would basically smile in public, but in private, I was actually broken. You know, I was the man who carried pain that no one saw. I was the man who thought silence. Well, I thought silence, that was my strength. You know, growing up as the oldest of 8, emotions, they weren't an option. Responsibility was the assignment. Survival came before my feelings. If I'm being honest, I buried everything. I buried the shame, the regret, the fear, the stress. That became silence. And that silence, it almost cost me everything. So if you're carrying things like this and you don't talk about it, I can guarantee you, this video, this message, it's for you, all right? Men, they don't hide their pain because they're actually weak. They hide it because they were programmed to survive, not to fail. And that survival programming, not only is it slow, but it's torment. And that survival program, it's killing men and it's doing it quietly. But I have 5 reasons why men hide their pain. Reason 1 that men hide their pain is because they have a lot of shame. And it's shame from the past. Men carry shame and they carry it heavier than any weight in the gym. They carry their mistakes. They carry every bad choice, every bad decision, every failure, all the times we let people down. Don't forget about the times you let yourself down. Shame, it actually convinces you that your past, it actually disqualifies you from your future. You know, I personally lived this. I thought I wasn't worthy of success. I thought I wasn't worthy of love, of peace. For the longest, I thought, if I'm being honest, I thought I wasn't even worthy of living because that's what shame did to me. That's how shame creeped in and had me feeling. But let me tell you something. Shame is actually a liar. Don't allow shame to do that to you. Reason 2 is there's no safe space to be human. All right. Most men, they grew up in homes where boys, you weren't allowed to cry, where emotions, they were basically for the weak, where you had to be tough. You know, as the oldest of 8, I didn't have room to fill. I had to protect everyone else. When you're the oldest, you're the protector of all your siblings. If something happens to them, you got to be able to answer to it. You can't let something happen to your younger siblings. So because of that, I literally learned to bury everything. I became an expert. I truly became an expert at being silent. And that silence, it actually followed me into my future. Reason 3 why most men carry everything. Society treats men like they're machines. You know, you got to provide, you got to perform, You got to protect, but you can't never break. When the world treats you like you're a machine, you honestly do forget that you're a human. You forget that you're a person, or that you have feelings or emotions. You forget all of that because society has ingrained in you to do these tasks, perform, operate, do this. So you begin to feel like a machine. You no longer feel like you're actually a person, like anything that you do or say matters. Reason 4 is fear of judgment. And honestly, I've dealt with this one. This is probably one of the tougher ones for me. Judgment, it kills vulnerability. You know, you hear things like man up. You hear things like you're tripping. This is a good one. It ain't that bad. You know, there were times when I had to speak on certain stages. There was times when I had to speak at church. There was a time where I had accepted awards and I had to get up in front of all my peers and my counterparts. And you know, I would sit back down and all I would be thinking is, did I say the wrong thing? What are they actually thinking about me? That's what judgment did. Judgments, it seeped inside of me. It seeped inside of my mind, inside of my heart. And all it had me doing is concerned about, what did I say wrong? And what is everybody else thinking? Reason 5 is we don't actually want to burden our families. You know, fathers, they especially feel this. We think opening up, it actually makes us look unstable. But silence, it doesn't protect the home. What silence does, it actually creates resentment. It creates resentment inside of the man that's actually trying to hold it all together. See, most of you probably thought I was going to say resentment for everybody else, but it actually creates resentment for the man that's trying to do it, that's trying to be successful, that's trying to be strong for everyone else. Silent literally makes you not want to be around or do anything for anybody else. It makes you frustrated at everyone, because that's what resentment does. Silence, what it does, it damages confidence. You cannot lead if you're hiding from your own heart. How can you lead anybody if you're not being led by your own heart? You know, silence, it also destroys relationships. When men stop talking, when a man stops talking, the woman that you're actually with or married to, dating, whatever, they begin to feel disconnected. They begin to feel like something's going on. They begin to have concerns. When men stop talking, your children, they don't feel safe anymore. They feel like something's going on, something's wrong. Silence, it also blocks financial growth. Your emotions, they affect your income. A man overwhelmed inside, I promise you, they can't think long term. Whenever I was silent inside and broken inside, I could never have a long-term goal or a long-term plan. All I could focus on or think about was tomorrow. And that was a good day. Sometimes it was just making it through the day, just getting home, to lay down, to get on the couch. Silence also keeps us, and it keeps me, it keeps us in survival mode. You're always reacting. You're never creating. So you're constantly in this mode of survival, of just going, just living. It makes you feel alone. You can be in a house full of people and you'll still feel isolated. I've had these dark times where I'm at home, I'm at my parents', and there's people all around me. And it feels like I'm in this hole. But there's all these people around me. But I still feel like I'm in this deep abyss by myself. That's what silence does. But I can tell you, there's actually ways that you can heal from this. There are different ways and different methods you can go about growing, moving forward. So I actually have some steps for you on how men heal without feeling weak. So step 1, the first thing you have to do is you have to acknowledge your reality. Your reality is you're not weak for feeling. You're actually human. What you got to learn how to do is sit with your emotions. If you have something going on, you have this certain feeling, fear, doubt, shame, sadness, sit with it. Don't bury it away. Sit with it. Soak in it. Don't run from them. Stop running from your feelings. Stop running from your emotions and saying, well, I don't have time for this. No, you have to make time for it. That's the first thing you have to do if you want to heal from it. Make time for your emotions. Make time for your healing process. Step 2 is you have to release the shame. Your past is just a chapter. It's not a life sentence. Most of us, we've been made to feel like our past is still haunting us or is still chasing us. If you've forgiven yourself, if people are forgiving you, move on. Let it go. Step 3 is stop outsourcing your self-worth. How people see you, it does not define you. Stop worrying about what other people think about you like that's what defines you. What the next person thinks about you doesn't matter at all. That's not even your problem. That's their problem. And I had to learn that because I had that bad. Always worried about what the next person thinks about me. There's actually a book that I read. It's not back there. It's probably in my room. I believe it's called The Courage, because I have both of them. The Courage to Be Disliked. I believe that's what it's called. The Courage to Not Be Liked. Stop worrying about what other people think about you. It's not your problem. It's their problem. That's not what creates your self-worth. Step 4, build emotional strength and stop suppressing it. Emotions, what they actually are is they're signals. Emotions aren't weakness. So you got to get it out of your mind that when you have these emotions come up or occur, think about them. Don't suppress them. Understand them. Grow with them. Get strong from them. They're not weakness. All right? Build a circle of 1 or 2 people that basically are your safe space. A man actually doesn't need a crowd. What a man needs is he needs a connection. And if you don't have anyone, my suggestion, get a therapist. I can tell you it changed my life. Most people don't even know this. I don't even know if my significant other or my parents know this. I actually went and got a therapist. I dealt with a therapist for a whole year because that's what I needed at that stage in life. Most men, most people, but for sure men, we're taught that seeing a therapist, it's weak. No, I can promise you that is probably the single most thing that helped me out in 2024. So my suggestion would be get a therapist. Step 6 would be build systems that actually protect your peace. Prayer, journaling, boundaries, routines, what these are masculine tools. These are tools that can help you move forward. When you're going through something, drop down and pray about it. Meditate about it. Write it down in your journal. If you don't want to share it with people, write it down in a journal. Set clear boundaries in your relationships with your work, your job, or your coworkers. You know, I had to learn how to set boundaries with my job. There was this time where everybody basically had access to me all during the day, all during the night. My job called, or there's an issue going on, they knew, call Tyrone. There was no boundaries in place. I had to put boundaries in place so that I could grow. And then from there, I created routines. I created a workout routine. I created a diet routine. I created a routine and a schedule for me to stay on track. And the last step I would say is redefine what a real man is. A real man isn't silent. A real man isn't numb. A real man is present. They're aware. They're connected. And, you know, when we're connected, everyone else around us grows. Everyone else around us feels better. Everyone else around us feels confident. And you know, this is so important and it matters so much because without it, you can't lead your family. You can't lead your family while you're hiding from yourself. You can't build wealth while you're burying your wounds. You can't rise while you're suppressing everything inside of you. You're not just breaking silence. You're actually breaking generational cycles. You know, I always talk about how there are so many different generational curses. It's not just drug abuse or alcoholism. Burying your emotions, that's a generational curse. You gotta break the generational cycle. Because the weight that you're actually carrying, I can tell you this, you don't have to carry it alone. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not a lost cause. What you are, you're a man who's in transition. You're moving from survival to leadership. You're moving from silence to strength. You're moving from pain to purpose. So what I would implore you to do is to rise up. And you know, I'm sharing this with you because if I'm being honest, you know, I've struggled a little over the last few weeks. You know, I've had some tough past weeks, but it's all of the emotions inside. It's everything going on in my mind. And you know, the one thing that I'm searching for and I'm on the path of, and I think it's becoming more and more evident to me, is my purpose. And my purpose is to help other men that's dealing with things I've dealt with, help other people heal from their past mistakes. So if this actually spoke to you, if it felt like I was talking directly to you, I would tell you to subscribe, because here you don't have to pretend. Here, this is where you actually grow. So let's do it together. Later.